I'm going to talk about the topic of elastic collisions versus inelastic collisions. So in an elastic collision, when an object is moving towards another object and they make contact, this first object will stop dead in its tracks and will transfer all of its kinetic energy to the second object for that object to continue moving. In this, a perfect elastic collision system, there's absolutely zero loss of kinetic energy within the system as a whole, as this full kinetic energy will be transferred to the next object. The equation for elastic collision is the mass of the first object times the initial velocity of the first object plus the mass of the second object times the initial velocity of the second object, and that equates to the mass of the first object times the final velocity of the first object plus the mass of the second object times the final velocity of the second object. And an inelastic collision is when the object is driving towards another object and they make contact. This first object will push this second object, but this one will continue to move unlike in an elastic collision. So this will slow down and it will transfer some energy to this, but in this system there is a loss of kinetic energy in the system as a whole. So this will continue to move slower, but will also move this one, so both are moving at one time. And the equation for an inelastic collision is the mass of object 1 times the initial velocity of object 1 plus the mass of object 2 times the initial velocity of object 2, and that equates to the mass of object 1 plus the mass of object 2, all multiplied by the final velocity of both objects as a whole.